Good day, everyone, and welcome to today's session on ERP solution. We are going to be looking at process around point of sales. How can we use the point of sales feature within the ERPNext to capture our sales transaction in ERPNext? So I remain Olumide Aino, your certified ERP consultant with over 15 years of experience around deploying and automating business processes to companies within Nigeria. So let's go into the program and see what the program can offer us. Okay, so if you check my previous video, I talked about how we can use the ERP next to capture the sales processes. So I talked about the aspect of sales processes from the quotation down till invoice, delivery, and payment. So end to end of the business process. If you want to see more about that video, you can check my previous videos to learn about that. So in that video, I explained that there is another way to capture these sales transactions or invoice, and this is why I'm making this video. So point of sales. So on your point of sales, let's look at some setups that are prerequisites to getting your transactions done. So on your selling module, we have point of sales, which is this. On your point of sales, I need to explain the things that is actually needed. Number one thing that is needed is for you to have a point of sales profile. So you need to set up a profile, and in that profile, there are some definition that is actually needed. And what are these definitions? So you need to specify which warehouse you would be selling from, that you want the point of sales to be pointing into. You need to specify the company, because ERPNext is a multi-company. It allows you to bring in or capture transactions for various companies at a go, and you can as well consolidate all these transactions in one report. So you need to specify the company you will be working with. You need to specify the warehouse. You need to specify the users that will be working on this point of sales. Then payment method in terms of recording your cash or your receipt from your customer. You can also still restrict this transaction to a particular customer. Otherwise, you leave it as blank. So when you leave it as blank, it gives you opportunity to pick different customers. If you wish, even if you have restricted it to read, you can as well drop down. This is just a default level for you to pick your customer. So most times our point of sales will have a working customers, or you call them cash customers. So because you're not keeping record of them, all you just need to do is customer comes in, they walk into the store, you sell whatever you're selling to them, and they make their payment and everybody goes. So in that situation, you might want to create just a single customer, which is called the working customer for that purpose. But if you still want to capture the aspect of the credit, associating the credit, you might as well do that within the here. So when this is done, you save it and you submit it, which is actually ready for your transaction. So I'll go back to the screen. I'll go back to our screen, which is still on selling. So which is still on selling. So the next thing for us to do is to have an open transaction. So we need to open a sheet for the users. So you might wonder that, okay, there are situations or there are processes where you have the supervisors and you have the cashier. So both will be created within the application. So when they are created, the same job or the same authorization they have can also be included into the ERPNext. So situations could warrant that you have a supervisor. The supervisor opens the shift while the cashier make use of that transactions open. At the end of the shift, the supervisor can come in to close the shift. We are not going to go into different users. So we are using just a single user in this process. And the single user we are going to be using has been logged in already. So we are going to open a shift. So we are going to assume a scenario of opening a shift. So we'll open a shift for a user, for this user. So which means that your profile the profile you will be using to open this shift must have this same user attached to it. Otherwise, you won't be able to move forward. So I'll click on add POS entry. Then pick when do you want this transaction to start. That is, what date are you opening this shift? So let's assume we're opening this shift today, and my transaction, so I need to enter the date, the posting date for the transactions that is being done. So a shift, this is just for you to open the shift to record the date at which this is happening, but this is where your financial goes into. When do you want the sales to be recorded? So at this point, we want the sales to be recorded on this specified date. So after doing that, then I can choose the profile. So different profiles have been created. Just like I said, you need to create a profile first. Then at this level, I have training. So I have Calabar point of sales training. So automatically it brings up an opening balance. So this is where you can enter a cash float given to the cashier. The cashier needs to have some change so that you can exchange it at point of making sales. But this time around, we can start with, let's assume I'm giving the cashier 15,000 naira. This is just a process. This is just an assumption. If you are not giving the cashier anything, you can still leave it blank. So let's leave this blank as well. I can leave it blank at this point. Then I click on save. The reason why you are having this is at the end of your shift, when you are closing your shift, the system will be able to tell you whatever change you have made and what you started with, and the cash you have received, and what you are expected to have in your balance. So that is the essence of having this. So if you make this 0 and you made some sales, you have record of the sales that you made, and you were given a cash of, let's say, 3,000 naira. When you are closing a shift, if you count your cash, your physical cash, or the cash from your till, if you count it against the system, there will be a difference of 3,000 naira. So of course it can be more than that as a result of tips from customers that is given, which is not actually recorded within the system. So all I just need to do after doing this is to click on save. So a supervisor does this, opening a shift for the users or for the cashier. So when that is done, I click on what? Submit. Yes. So this is done already. When this is done, I go back to my main page, which is this. The next thing for us to do is to start selling. And how do we make sales within the ERPNext? So how do we make sales? Just come here and search for point of sales. Click here and search for point of sales. So you see open point of sales. Then you click this. Clicking on this brings up a screen for you. So this is a screen we might be used to, whereby we have the category of products that are involved, the category of, but then also I wish to let you know something. Let me go back there. You can as well specify the group of products that you want to be on your point of sales. You can as well specify that. You can as well specify let me see those things you can actually specify, so that so I go to my profile again. Let me specify that so we are all on the same page. Point of sales profile. Yeah, so you can see you can specify group of items. So you might have various group of items. Maybe some are for you to make sales, while some are for you to maybe issue out, use within the organization and all that, and you don't want them to come to your point of sales. So you might group it in whatever level that you wish. Then when you do that, you have those groups attached at this level. Then as well, you can group your customers. You can group your customer, the kind of customer that you have, and this kind of customers would also be displayed there. Your customers group may also be displayed there. So in this situation, you can leave this as it is. So now after that, so these are just the prerequisites that is involved. Then you leave this as it is. So I'm not going to click on save here. So all I just need to do is to go back to my screen. I go back to my screen to say this. Let's go back, sorry. So I'm going to open my point of sale. So I can click on point of sale. I don't have a shortcut on my point of sale there. I didn't drop a shortcut. So I have this. So having this actually shows me that a sheet is opened. Otherwise, you are going to see what is going to be prompted to you is a screen where you need to open a sheet before you can work. So before you can see this screen, a sheet must be open. So this side of the screen will show you the group of products that you have. Then this side will show you your cart. So the items on your cart. So this will show you the items in your cart. It will show you the total of your product. Then this is where you can select your customer. You can select your customer by phone number, by email address, by customer name, by customer code. You could as well do this. Then you can search your items with any of these item code, serial number or barcode. Then also you can select by item group. So I will click on this. So if you are ready for your transaction, all you just need to do is click on the item or click on the group. So if I click on the item here, so I'm told you must select a customer before adding an item. Yeah, so you need to select a customer. So let's assume I'm picking this customer. We are going to do various transactions. I'll pick a customer, then pick my item. So my item here is a cooking gas, so I can have various items that have been created. But this was just the only item we are allowed to come onto the point of sale. So that is why you're seeing just this alone here. Then point of sales here, I have this item. I can decide when I click on the item, it displays the information I wish to write. So you can decide, this is the cooking gas LPG. I can decide to put the customer is actually purchasing or buying 15 kg. Then at what rate am I selling this to the customer? Let's assume I'm selling it at $8.90. That's the selling price. You can also make a price rule. If you check my previous video on sales process, you will see where I talked about price rule. So that price rules can also be a drop down year. As long as you pick that customer, it brings down this for you. Then if you wish a discount on this particular product, you can attach that. Then the warehouse that you added on your profile becomes a default year. Then what else? What else? What else? What else? You then okay, you have chosen this. I think that's all. I just click on. I can check out this quantity. I can see the amount. I can click on checkout. Now, so that aspect is where you enter your product, just more like you're making the invoice already or the order. Then at this point, this is where you are recording that you are collecting the money. So how much are you collecting from this customer? Let's assume this customer paid the exact amount, 13,350. So I'll say 13,350 here. If it is lesser, I'll put 13,000, or let's say 14,000 for instance, 14,000. Then I complete my order. So you can see there's a change of 650 that maybe I must have given to the customer. So I click on yes. So you have a kind of printout like this for you, displaying it to you as a user, or you can click on print receipt, which can be enabled with your printout. That can actually be enabled with your printout, and you have a printout of this nature. So this can actually be customized to fit your need. So this, I can close this. I'm not saving this. I can close this. So rather than you logging out, so just click on new order to attend to the next customer or to attend to the next order that's coming on. So I can click on this and pick another customer. I'm picking another customer, and this customer this time around is buying, let's say, 12.5 kg of LPG. So this customer is buying 12.5. I say 12.5, and the rate is 850. Then I can click on checkout. You can decide to remove items and all that. With all this, you can use this for your quantity, you can use this for your rate as well. So I click on this. So doing that, enter the amount you are receiving from the customer, then you click on yes to submit. Now, as you are doing this transaction, the question is it posted directly into your ledger account? Is it updating your stock directly? So let me first start from the aspect of ledger account, or let me start from the aspect of what's it called, the stock. At the point of the stock, the system is shifting whatever quantity that you have sold, is shifting it into a holding bin. Let me call it a holding bin, which is called a reserved bin. You understand? So that it assumes that whatever thing you are selling should not hit your GL account directly at that point in time. It should not be updated at that time, but it saves it somewhere. Why waiting that you close a shift, or why you close your POS transaction? When you close your POS transaction, then it moves it into it issues it out, and it updates your inventory stock, your sales stock, your cost of sales, your receivables account, and all that. At that point in time, it does all those. So we've only been able to do 2 transactions on this level. So just those 2 transactions. Let's leave this screen. So I'm going to leave this screen. You can always go back to the screen anytime you want. So all you just need to do is either use your shortcut or you click on point of sale. So when you click on point of sale, it brings you back to this same screen. You might as well make some kind of return. So you can as well do some kind of return from the system. You can as well do some kind of return from the system. Let me go back. So let's do this. Okay, so going out of it, I want to show you something. So there is a report or there's a dashboard that is going to show you or display some things for you. So let me check projected. Let me do this. So if you look at these columns, this will show you your stock level and also show you, look at this, I think is this. Yeah, reserved for point of sales transactions. So look at this will show you the point of sales transactions that has been done. You can see that has been done but not yet closed. So it keeps this because this is the warehouse we are using. Yes, I think this is the warehouse. Let me be sure. Yeah, so this is the warehouse. So reserved for transaction POS transaction is this. So it means that I have this quantity of that same product that has been sold with the POS, but your stock is indirectly not yet updated, but it's just shifting it. There could be reasons why you want to take it back. You understand? So if I go out of this screen, let's go out of this screen. So now, so there's a document the system as well generates. So normally if you raise an invoice, you're supposed to have an invoice document. So at this point, the system is not yet generating an invoice, the direct invoice that we all know, the invoice that will update our stock, but it's having something like a pro forma invoice. Yes, it's having something like a pro forma invoice. So, and that invoice is actually called the POS invoice. POS invoice. So if you have your POS invoice, you will see these two transactions we did. The POS invoice. Let me see. So we are supposed to see a point of sales in, I can't even remember the transactions we did. So let me just let me change this to, let's say okay, yeah, these are the two transactions here. So these are the two transactions we did now. These are the two transactions here, 5 minutes ago, 7 minutes ago. So these are the two transactions we did. Now listen, at this point, when you make a sales with your POS invoice, it shows you paid. That is when the full amount is paid. It shows you paid. When the full amount is not paid, it shows you unpaid. Now you can see consolidated. So consolidated, when a shift or when a POS transaction is closed, it becomes consolidated. You understand? So you will take note of this. So these are so if I click on this now, for instance, if I click on this, you will see the details of the transactions. You understand? This is at the details of the transaction at this level. So you can actually return, make a return of your product from here. That is, if you wish to return the product, you can return it for a year. So let's go back to this level. So you have this level. Like I have said, it is when you make a close, when you close the shift or when you close your POS transaction, that you are going to have consolidated. Now moving on into that, we'll all understand all this now. So moving on, let's now close our shift, or let's close our POS transactions. So if I come here to my selling as well, I scroll down, don't mind that, I scroll down to where I have POS closing entry. If I close this POS entry, I'm still going to show you the same screen. So look at this now. I showed you how to open, so we've opened one, so we now need to close. So for you to close, click on add POS closing entry. I'm closing as at this date. Then my posting date is also on this date. I can say my post and the time is now. Now for you to close a shift or a transaction, you must make a reference to an opened transaction. So that is why you need to make a reference to that. I'll click this. So automatically it updates everything relating to this, which is on the POS opening. The opening entry POS is going to make, it's going to put this there and also put this there, and the cashier that was using it. And at the same time, when that is done, it automatically updates or populates the POS transactions. It automatically populates it. You can see. So it drops down all those transactions. And the only thing we did was just 2 transactions. So if you have like 500 transactions, it's going to drop down the whole thing there. But there are situations whereby maybe as a result of maybe there was a particular shift that was not closed and all that. If you see that it is not dropped, so the most important thing is, and you are sure of the transaction you did, you can come to add new, for instance, then come here. It will list out all the POS for you, the POS transaction for you. Then you start picking them. So just pick them one after the other. It will drop the date for you automatically and it will drop the amount for you. It's just the document you need to pick here. So you pick all of them, even if it's 500, you pick all of them. But most case scenario, you won't have that issue. So let me close that. Don't have that. So now this is the total amount that you have collected from your customer, which is this. So this is the total amount you have collected from your customer, and that is what is going to record here. If we had a cash float, if you had written a cash float of let's say 20,000, 5,000, then we can always come here to see that reflects on this level. They're showing us the difference. I think that is done. So at this level, all this being equal, I click on save. Clicking on save, then I click on submit, and I click on yes. So what will happen is that the system will post your invoice or your pro forma invoice and convert them to the normal invoice. So if you look at what the system has done, so I'll go out of here. I've closed that shift, or I've closed that POS entry. If I go out of here, then try to search for, let's say, POS invoice. Look at, you remember our 2 POS invoice was showing paid the other time. Now it is now showing consolidated. These are the 2 transactions that we have. And what will these 2 transactions do? You can see it is now. If I go out of here, then go to my sales invoice. I didn't remember to show you that. So on your sales invoice, which is the normal invoice, you would have seen that if you had checked it before now, there was no sales invoice involved. But this time around, you are going to see your sales invoice being populated. Look at this at this level. Look at this at this level. So you will have some certain amount of money on your invoice here. So look at this now. 1 minute ago, 1 minute ago, and that's so. Look at this for instance. This will show you the details of what the customer actually paid and the money that was actually returned to the customer. You understand? So these are things that are very, very important for us to always take note of on our screen. So I'll close this as well. Let me close this. Let's close this to have a better screen. So what else do we need to do? Okay, so let's see how that other side is going to display, which is the projected sales, stock projected quantity. Looking at your stock projected quantity and the same product, which is LPG as well, LPG tank. So let's look for the reserved for POS. Don't know why is this. Okay, let me refresh that. Network issue. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so you can see that was on 80 before, now it's 53, which means that there are still some POS transactions that's maybe not from this transaction we did, and this is what is remaining now. So as at that point, you would have seen that your entries are now being populated. So let's go to our sales invoice again to see sales. Okay, let's see for points of sales invoice, POS invoice. Let's see our point of sales invoice and click on inventory. So look at this. Let's just pick one of these for instance and see. This will not show, or this is just for us to return product. So this will not show us that. So let's go out of here to look for sales invoice. Sales invoice. Let's check our sales invoice. So let's look at this for instance now. I'll pick this particular transaction, which is this. So picking on this, if I decide to view my accounting ledger. So at this point, you would see that all our expected ledger account will be populated. You can see our debtors control account is debited, the sales account is also credited, the stock account is credited, and the cost of sales account is debited. While with your cash account, so this aspect of the screen is completed and we are good to go. So if this is good to go, I think we have a full understanding of how that process actually works. So we can also as well check some things here relating to let's say sales invoice. Let's check our sales invoice here, or let's check if we can do a point of sales entry here. So you can see that if you're trying to open a point of sales entry, it's asking you to open an entry, but we have closed the entry. So if you want to do a new transaction, you can as well do a point here. So and you do that as well. So thank you very much, and I think you would gain from this. So thank you. So remember to click like and join our channel. Thank you.